Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and I'm on a mission to spread peace, love, and positivity through music. Today, I'm going to be giving a first-time reaction to a German melodic metal group named Eisbrecher? Eisbrecher? No idea if I'm pronouncing that right. We're going to be checking out their song Was Ist Hier los, which I'm also not sure if I'm pronouncing right, but I'm doing my best with my very limited experience with the German language. Apparently that means what's going on here. You guys know me. I love good metal music, good melodic metal music, good German melodic metal music. So really, this is right up my alley. I'm excited to check this out, and that is all thanks to Isa the Bluesy for making this donation request today. Thank you very much, Isa. It is much appreciated and helps guide the direction for reactions I do over here. But now, let's quickly jump in.
Wir bauen auf und reichen ein.
Oh.
Wir fangen an und lassen sein. Wir wollen viel, wir können nichts. Erst kommt die Wahrheit, dann kommt die Pflicht.
Oh man, yeah, I'm down. I was like getting the chill vibes at the beginning. This just punched in.
Erst geht nichts los, dann fängt nichts an. Und wenn nicht heut, dann irgendwann. Mal geht nichts rein, dann kommt nichts raus. Nur heiße Luft.
Kind of gives me that like bit of that Rammstein feel, bit of the just like that dance beat that keeps you ready for more. Almost low-key reminds me a bit of Electric Callboy as well, the way that they kind of hype up their verses. But with Electric Callboy, we all know that those choruses, those big moments are filled with metal and screaming. Here we get that very punchy drum effect. Drum effect, they're literally just drums and the guitar riff over the top. So it's a very almost like big just wall of sound that comes at you, at least in that chorus.
Nichts rein, dann kommt nichts raus. Nur heiße Luft in diesem ehrenwerten Haus. Was ist hier los? Was ist passiert? Wie kann es sein, dass das hier keinen interessiert? Was ist hier los? Was ist passiert? Soll das so sein, dass hier rein gar nichts funktioniert? Was ist hier los?
I saw the communist sickle over here. I'm not sure what this song is exactly about, so after we listen to the whole thing, we're going to pull up the English lyrics. What's going on here? Yeah. Why the hammer and sickle?
Was ist hier los? Was ist passiert? Der Magen denkt, das Herz pariert. Was ist hier los? Ist das normal? Es kommt das
Is that normal?
und dann kommt die Moral. Was ist hier los? Was ist passiert? Wie kann es sein, dass das hier keinen interessiert? Was ist hier los? Was ist passiert? Soll das so sein, dass hier rein gar nichts funktioniert?
Oh, the halftime. Nice switch up right there.
Wer nichts gewinnt und doch verliert, hat viel gelernt und nichts kapiert. Es fängt nie an, es endet nie. Ja, was ist hier los? Was ist hier los?
Oh wow, so it's sort of like I want to go back here. It's sort of like the communist sickle and its own stars interposed with what would presumably be the flag of the USA. Interesting. And the yellow and red like imagery and colors, so presumably something to do with communism. Let's jump into the lyrics here. I mean, we had this very brutal brutal song in terms of its own instrumentation, but man, I really want to know what it means. Okay, it's clear here. We build up and then break down. We begin and then stop. We want a lot. We can't do anything. First comes truth and then dare. Build up and break down. My intuition from this alone is telling me that it's a bit of like a critique of capitalism if I'm using then the visual imagery to like supplement my contention here, because oftentimes in capitalistic structures we end up on these hamster wheels looping endlessly, trying to solve solutions to problems that we ourselves are creating, so nothing really ends. It's always starting something anew. First nothing begins, then nothing starts. First nothing begins, then nothing starts. That is interesting. Because it's all like fugazi at the very beginning. There's no meaning to these things. It's all immaterial to what makes the soul happy. So anything that begins from this system is not of importance. Anything that then starts is nothing. And if not today, then someday. Nothing goes in, then nothing comes out. Only hot air in this honorable house. Interesting. So I presume the honorable house refers to just the earth itself, the world that we inhabit. And so if nothing matters, almost like in a nihilistic sense, none of these things that we are doing for society underneath this capitalist system are leading to anything positive for people. It purports itself to be positive, and it, the conjecture is that these are improvements for society and for humanity and how we live, but is it really? And maybe that's something worth questioning as well. Then the refrain, what's going on here? What has happened? How can it be that doesn't concern anybody here? What's going on here? What has happened? Should it be so that here nothing works at all? What's going on here? Sort of refocusing the question, what is going on here? Are we actually solving the things that we're hoping to? Does any of this actually matter at all? Can we abstract away for just a moment before like getting lost in the trees and losing the sight of the forest, right? That whole idiom. Can we focus on the forest for a second and contemplate, is this the direction we all want to collectively go? So what's going on here? What's happened here? What has happened? The gut thinks, the heart obeys. What's going on here? Is that normal? First comes eating, then come ethics. Oh, interesting. So the main difference is here, the gut thinks, the heart obeys. First comes eating, then come ethics. The gut thinks. Interesting. The heart obeys. So the idea that like one's gut intuition, one's instinct, though it's not necessarily logical, is the thing that is accomplishing what logic hopes to do. And then the heart, the emotions behind it, are what follow suit and help bolster that gut logic, if you will. Because you're going to listen to your natural, like human instincts first, because they are the guiding path, on a balance of probabilities. Because we can also over-intellectualize ourselves into, let's say, positions that don't actually make much practical sense. It's kind of the double-edged sword of logic, is that you can make sense of everything, but the emotions are going to guide, almost like through the idea of like emotional emotivism. That's like a philosophical framing and what lens to look through the world. But if you have all of these things that exist in different vacuums, what is going to guide you to making one decision or the other when they all on their face just exist as things? It's one's emotions behind how we feel about it, and maybe our collective emotion. So the ethics, we can logic ourselves into ethics one way or the other, but it's the gut that matters most, the emotion that matters most. What's going on here? What has happened? How can it be? And then the repetition here. How can it be that doesn't concern anybody here? Should it be so that here nothing works at all? What's going on here? I just love that idea of seeing everything and kind of coming to the conclusion that nothing works at all. And of course, this is art, so we're not going to get that response to the question I'm about to pose because it's already completed and exists in this vacuum. But I'm curious if I were to hear their perspectives and ask the artists, what specifically are you referring to that is not working at all? Can you explicate that a little bit more? Because right now we're taking it at face value that nothing seems to be working at all, and we're projecting our own feelings of how society is functioning onto a song like this without knowing concretely what are the perspectives and opinions of the artists themselves. Who gains nothing yet loses, has learned much and understood nothing. It never begins and never ends. So the gains that we think we're getting, they don't actually exist, they're not real, but we're actually losing more of who we are. Despite that. So when we think we're gaining something, we're not really gaining it, but we are losing something, and it's an intangible thing, but we continue to fall prey. You've learned so much, but yet you've learned nothing. That's an also interesting thing because there's this whole idea of Dunning-Kruger. The smarter you get, the more things you know about something, the more you realize that you don't know because there's an infinite number of horizons to cross. And those who fall prey to the Dunning-Kruger effect oftentimes don't realize that there is more to know, and they overinflate their own sense of knowledge. But sometimes it is the case that you've learned so much, you know how to conceptualize certain things, but it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't have value because you didn't actually understand the things that matter, right? Let's say if you were to paint like an example across two different disciplines of like, I don't know, cryptozoology versus physics. Like it may be the case that you are the foremost expert in cryptozoology, but does that actually matter? Does that have any real bearing or impact on society? If you were to like translate that same level of knowledge into the realm of physics, probably not. But a lot of life is subjective in that way. And then the rest of the lyrics here are more repeated from before, so I'm curious to hear your perspectives on this song. What do you think it means? What is this getting at? I think I have like a high level understanding. Maybe it has to literally do with being anti-capitalist and viewing that economic structure as being problematic and not yielding broader society any true fruit, and rather it's kind of a facade for real progress. It could be that way. I could also imagine the song being applied to other realms of thought and discipline. Really, at the end of the day, it comes down to what is important for you as an individual, what is important for us societally, and are we moving in those directions, or are we kind of taking what we have for granted now and moving just to move, right? Without thought of where we're going. Those are all the questions that at least immediately come to my mind. But again, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. I hope you at least enjoyed the reaction. If you did and would like to make a reaction request yourself, you can always do so by clicking the first link down below. It's the best way to support my channel. But as always, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.